Quiet on the set. Take one.
You're watching Fringe TV.
Our work is rooted in finding truth, as all theater is, but the shape that it takes in the work of Gas and Electric Arts is highly physical and, for me, theatrical. Because it requires the actors' bodies to create and fill theatrical form. Shapes, it's got a lot of choreography in it, but it's not movement just for movement's sake, but as a way to tell the story and stimulate the senses of the audience, so they're both stimulated theatrically, like, because there's all this stuff going on, but also intellectually, and their senses are kind of nourished in a way that might not normally happen in straightforward theater. The name Gas and Electric Arts comes from my extensive years of studying modern French theater. I lived in Paris, France for many years and trained with a theater company called the Théâtre du Soleil. Not to be confused with the Cirque du Soleil, which is the circus in Canada. And one of the early theater practitioners who influenced me when I was studying was a man named Jean Villard. He got money from the government so that theater could be accessible to people in the provinces, so that Paris was not the only place where stuff was happening. And he wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote about theater and the need for theater in people's lives. And I paraphrase him loosely, but at one point he said, theater should be accessible like gas and electricity. And that stuck in my mind as a young theater maker when I was an undergraduate and then in graduate school. And as I nourished thoughts about my own theater company, it just became clear to me that this is the name that I needed to have. And it's called Gas and Electric Arts because I thrive by working with artists from all disciplines. And I don't see theater as exclusively just an actor and a director. But I work very intimately with my designers in an action-oriented way where what happens on the stage is integrally linked to all of our visions. And so it's Gas and Electric Arts as opposed to Gas and Electric Theater. Why do I feel that there's a need for theater in society? Well, that's my reason for living. I think that for myself, I can only speak for myself, that, and I made Gas and Electric Arts with my husband, who is the co-founder of Gas and Electric Arts, because that's what I saw as my role as a citizen in the world, that this was the only way that this was the best way that I could respond to what I found were the obstacles and bumps and grunts in the world, and my way to initiate a conversation with with a community and with communities to tell the stories of our time. That for me, theater should raise questions and not answer them, because we have to go out into the world after we see a theater production and solve those questions for ourselves, so that the theater becomes a springboard for raising our goosebumps, so to speak, about what the issues and concerns and pleasures and desires are in our world, and do something with ourselves. Something like the Fringe Festival is incredibly vital because it enables artists who have craft and passion and drive to create work that they need to make, and provides a vehicle for a city to embrace a plethora of kinds of theater and performance and demonstrate to the community and the larger United States, because I think that this Fringe Festival is certainly garnering more and more attention because it does nourish artists of Philadelphia and enables audiences to see that there's a wide array of voices, and we should acknowledge them and support them. And it would be wonderful if this city, and I think that it has, because when I left in 1984 there were no small theater companies, and now there are many, and we are now one of them, that it becomes the springboard for a company like our own to start with just one show a year, and as we build audiences and understanding of our work, that we can now do a show later in the year, and audiences and communities can see that it's not just a one-shot deal, that this is something serious, this is what we do for our lives. So the Fringe Festival really becomes that opportunity for us to also see each other's work in a way that during the year might not be possible because we're so wound up in our own lives and figuring out how to do and live our lives. So I think that the Fringe Festival is a vital interest, and it's a great opportunity for a city like Philadelphia to reveal the riches that may sit underground during the bulk of the year, but then rise to the surface and be the gems that they are. One thing that I need to explain is that it is a play that seamlessly interweaves puppet characters and the actors playing human characters. And so one of the pathways we have followed in rehearsal, one of the pathways is, how do you have a human character interact with a puppet and have that conversation resonate with human truths? The work of Gas and Electric Arts is highly theatrical, and hence when we show you this scene now, you will see a lot of movement as integrated with text. It is a rehearsal, so we're in the process of developing this. But what I work on with the actors is utilizing movement as a way to externalize subtext or tell something about a deeper emotion than what they're actually saying. One of the beautiful things about Kira's play is that not only does she weave in actors and puppets who are in scenes together, but in a Brechtian fashion, when a character needs to express a deeper emotion, she puts them into song. And so, while you might not see it in a rehearsal today when you view our scenes, the piece will be filled with song. The characters break into song at a drop of a hat, and it's all a cappella or accompanied by toy piano. And so in this very first scene, in some regards, the man in the hat is returning to the factory where he worked in the mid-1800s that is situated along a bank of a river. And so it's after the factory has died. And he is in many regards bringing that factory back to life in order to remind us of the variety of things that happened in that factory, from the owner of the factory and his corrupt practices, all to satiate his voracious appetite for wealth, to the story of a factory worker who was poisoned by mercury because in the 1800s they treated rabbit fur with mercury, a cocktail of mercury, to make the fur into felt. And then the felt would go through a process and then would become a hat. So you may have heard of Mad as a Hatter from Alice in Wonderland. It's really a reference to hatters, people who made hats in the 1800s, who were then poisoned by the mercury vapors that they inhaled from the steam or that they touched with their hands, and it addled their brains and messed with their bodies and made them crazy. So it wasn't just a Lewis Carroll flight of fancy.
This town is a mix, a stew of life. Polish, Indian, Peruvian, African, Irish, you name it. But we don't. There are 3 kinds of people in this town. The men who work in the wet shops at the hat factory. The women who love the men who work in the wet shops at the hat factory. And the men who own the hat factory. Each is a little crazy in their own particular way. You see, there's a smell, a steam, a poisonous liquor that infects the air. And when you breathe the sweet smell of the factory, well, it fills the brain into a pot of goo. But while the rest of the country starves, we're talking lines for food, shuffling feet through the dry dust, horses dead in the road. We prosper as long as we work. And when we get sick, we starve. Prosper. You know, jingles in the pockets. Which makes life ever so more pleasant in a Pleasantburg.
This is the story of a town that existed. I think it's in the history books.
This is the factory. And this is where the factory owner lived. And this is where Lily and Gaga Stark lived, in this little house. And the river. Looks like it's red today.
Shouldn't a river be blue?
This is the story of a day, a very hot day. A day that begins like any other and ends the same way. A day filled with escapes. Why, 4 of us? No. Excuse me, 5 of us. To escape this day from a day that threatens to melt and turn into an endless day. Escape? How does one escape from time and fate?
Hi, I'm Vivian Appler, and in this production of Quicksilver, I play Rose, who is an actor. She's alive. I'm the actor playing Rose, as opposed to the other characters that I play, Lily, who is a puppet, and other puppets, incidental puppets.
I'm Seth Reichgott, and I play the man in the hat, and who's sort of the narrator, who sort of leads us through the story, and a couple other odds and ends. You know, there's a lot of puppets in the show as well as live actors, so we're doing all that stuff.
And I'm Joseph Rich, and my live character is Gregor, who is a young man who is struggling with having to follow in his father's footsteps into this world of working in a factory when all he really wants to do is be a poet. And he also happens to fall in love with the daughter of the factory owner. And I too play an assortment of other characters which are in puppet form.
Hi, I want to thank Tony for letting me introduce, first of all, this is Lily, and she is a puppet who will be featured in our production of Quicksilver. She's currently in gestation, and so while she looks like this, she will certainly be changed slightly. Ooh. By the time opening night happens.
And she'll have some clothes.
And she'll have some clothes. And this is my husband and partner in all things, David Brown. He's the managing director of Gas and Electric Arts. Wait!
Let's go back to our room. I'll make you laugh.
You're watching Fringe TV. We are the Nice People Theater Company. We're a new theater company in town. We do Philadelphia premieres, and we try to do thought-provoking, intelligent work. We try to employ young actors that sort of harbor our mission, which is nice, easy to work with, wonderful people, but without sacrificing the professional element.
What drives me to do what I do, I feel like I don't have any other choice in life to do anything but theater. It's the only thing that's pumping through my veins every day when I wake up, and one of the only things that I think about when I go to sleep at night. I can't imagine doing anything else with my life.
Miriam and myself co-founded the Nice People Theater Company about a year ago, a little less. We went to college together and had a bunch of peers in college that wanted to start a theater company together once we graduated, and now it's about 5 years after we've graduated, and we decided it's high time to make that dream come true. So we and our other co-founder, Bill Felty, decided to start the Nice People Theater Company. Here we are. We're about to produce our second production for the Philadelphia Fringe Festival, which is Killing Women by Marissa Wegerson. It's sort of a black, dark comedy about female assassins. It's really witty and sharp and a lot of fun. Jordan is our lead actress, and Miriam and myself will be playing the two other female roles as well. And we've got a really great cast of phenomenal Philly actors, great set of designers, and phenomenal director Bill Felty. The Fringe is a great way for a new theater company to really premiere itself. And we've had our inaugural production, but our audience base is mostly people that we already knew. So this is a great way for people who are just looking for something new, something different, to just go through the Fringe Festival guide and see if our, if our show interests them, and come out and see us, and hopefully we can pick up a greater audience base that way.
Our first production was called 6 Seconds in Charlac. It was also written by a friend of ours, Brian Golden, who was an alumni from our school, Washington University. And it sort of cemented what our mission statement would be. It was a very intelligent, thought-provoking production. And it was a small cast. We did it at the Shubin Theater, and we really were able to make a splash with it. It was a great script, great cast, great director. Bill Felty directed as well for that one. And it was just a wonderful introduction for our theater company. Excited about it. It was also a new work, a show that had won our playwriting competition at our university, which is our Killing Women is the same thing. It won our playwriting competition at our university as well. So we really want to do new, up-and-coming playwrights that are really adding new voices to the theater scene.
The playwright of Killing Women is also someone who was commissioned recently by Steppenwolf Theater, and that show that was commissioned is currently at Second Stage off Broadway in New York. So she's really got a really good running start, and we're here to pick up, in her younger days of stardom.
I would say go out there and do it. Every day do something that helps your career, or something that has to do with theater or film. Whether it's read a play, watch a movie that really interests you, the kind of movies that you like. Every day do something that has to do with your craft. Don't ever, ever, ever ignore it. Because the day you put it on the shelf, you never know, that could be the last day that you motivate yourself to do anything. If it means something to you, you really have to go for it. What motivates me? Anything and everything. The fact that I can't put it down. And I love people. I love persons, really. So the idea that I get to explore a person every time I open up a script or step on stage or watch a show or a movie is really an exciting thing for me. And if I stopped exploring a person, I feel like a piece of me is put on the shelf. And I don't think I could live like that.
Oh, what runs through my mind when I'm currently on stage? That's a tough question. Well, hopefully I'm in the moment enough that I'm just thinking script, motivation, next moment, obviously there are moments of I hope the audience is enjoying it and all of that. It's impossible not to. But when I'm actually in the moment, and that's the most exciting part of the whole acting business, is that you really are that person. You really are connecting to that person, the other people on stage. You're feeling the audience's excitement and energy, and it's really a wonderful, exciting experience for both you and the audience.
A lot. I think it's really important to do that, because there's absolutely no way to exclude yourself from a character. There's just, that's virtually impossible. You've got to take what you are and throw that into a character. And also that's the best way to relate to a character, is to think about what they're going through and their journey, and to put yourself in there and see where can I sympathize and empathize with this character, because that'll really help you connect into the character.
September 6th through 9th. We've got shows at 8 o'clock every one of those nights. We also have a 2 o'clock show on that Saturday of the Fringe Festival. We have a Pay What You Can preview on the 5th. And yeah, that's when we'll be. I'm from Washington, D.C. originally, but I've been in the area my family's been in the area for 10 years. I've been in the area for 4 years. I think I knew when I was 3 years old I took a ballet class, and I was never good at ballet, but my parents knew that I was a performer. So I think as far as I can remember, 3, I knew that I needed to be and wanted to be on stage and in the performing aspect.
I'm from a really small town called Allentown, New Jersey. Less than a square mile, and it's near Trenton, New Jersey. So I knew that I was going to be in theater. When I was young, I was also a gymnast, so I knew I was going to be performing somehow. And I sort of made the transition into theater only when I was about 12, but I was always on stage. Probably about 3rd grade I did my first play.
I'm originally from the suburbs of Philadelphia. Spent most of my life in Philadelphia. When I was younger, I begged my parents to let me take an acting class, and I took my first acting class at the Actors Center here in Philadelphia, and just had a ball. Really loved it. And one day a casting director came in and asked to sign me, and that was sort of it. From there, I was going on auditions 3-4 times a week in like the 5th grade, and I haven't dropped it since. I think once you're an actor, always an actor. When we collaborated with our peers in college and talked about someday starting a theater company together, we said, well, we want to work with people who are like ourselves. We always enjoyed working together. We had a great group of people who had a really good sense of collaboration, and that's the key element for us, is collaboration, and a good collaboration, because we believe that the process is just as important as the final product. And so we said, well, we should work with nice people, just really simply nice people, so we should be the Nice People Theater Company. Well, our production Killing Women, which will be September 6th through 9th as part of the Philadelphia Fringe Festival at the Philadelphia Shakespeare Festival stage at 20th and Sansom. That's next on the shelf, and then, picking up your terminology, and then we're thinking of doing a musical for next spring. That will be at Mum Puppet Theater, but we can't disclose what that will be yet because it's not official. You're watching Fringe TV.
And don't forget, all you actors out there, if you want exposure, in addition to your headshots and your demo reels and everything, Tony Langford's Downtown, the Actors Lounge, this show right here is an excellent way to get exposure. So all you got to do is contact me, executive producer Tony Langford, at phillytvdirector@aol.com. Along with your headshots and your demo reel, the Actors Lounge is a wonderful place to get some exposure for your craft. You must get out there. You must have casting directors see you and people who want to hire you. This is exposure. You can do it by getting your headshots out there, getting your demo reels out there, going on the internet, going to YouTube and iFilm, and best of all, come to the Actors Lounge. Tony Langford's Downtown, the Actors Lounge. If you want exposure, you can get it right here on this show. This show is for actors, directors, performers, singers, dancers. Whatever you do that's creative in the arts field, this is the show for you. So, here's my number, 215-253-1677 or phillytvdirector@aol.com. Feel free to email me, send me your headshots, let me know that you want to be on this show, okay? It's Tony Langford's Downtown, the Actors Lounge. I hope to hear from you soon. Stay right there.